Christ.
Hello, everyone. This is Running on Empty Food Review.
I
This
was I
week,
was giving all this great entertainment and it's flushed down the drain now, Tommy.
nah,
Now
we were just
I'm
getting
now
fucking
I'm
warmed up.
now I'm personally offended. Like 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 Nick Patera when he sees AI art. But yeah, like I said, I've my I can't really chalk up what what causes what these days in terms of people passing because I don't have any I don't have any solid clues. We just have there's more information than we can get a proper gauge on mixed with bad information in order to have like at least like a reasonable idea about things. So
I think the days of reliable information are done. Everybody's
I
got
mean they are
two.
in a lot of ways. You know, it's sucks because even like old information comes into question a lot more. And
Yeah, I pretty much don't believe anything in history now.
yeah, I
You
mean
know,
I'm
I mean, look at the
pretty
food
close
pyramid,
with
bro.
you. There's a reason they made it a pyramid.
Motherfucking Masons, bro.
They can put all the slop and shit at the top and trick you into thinking it's good for you. It's like the amount of vegetables a person has to eat these days to get any nutritional value.
Oh, because
Is
they've
that
been stripped, because the farmland's been stripped. Yeah.
the farmland's been stripped? They blast it all with like light radiation before it leaves the factory, just in case there's like bacterias or you know anything on it that could make people sick. There's so much done now. It's leafy and green. It looks right, but it's been sprayed with Raid like 4 times before it reached your table. So
Got to go to that farmer's market or
yeah,
grow your own.
I go through spats where I do. Like some summers I'm up for it. Other summers I'm like, this ain't happening. I'm just too busy.
It's not as easy as it looks.
No, it can be a real pain in the ass sometimes.
Looks like people's
There's,
got the white 5 gallon bucket shit figured out though. So I've been eyeballing that, thinking about trying that method. But
well,
is that shit leaching in? Sorry,
so
go ahead.
much of what it comes down to with plants is knowing what makes each individual plant um, give it its best chance to thrive. And if you don't know the difference in how to grow, 30 different vegetables and you treat them all exactly the same, you're only going to get like a good result from the tomatoes because they can basically grow through anything and produce for you. But half the other shit will come out all messed up. And it comes out all messed up because it's like, unless you know all these fine tuned things about each plant that's taken centuries of people testing and trying things in terms of farming and learning, or if you get something that's not native to your area and you don't know. I was talking to someone recently about like Henry Ford built this entire town down in, I think it was Brazil, maybe. He was fed up with having to go through European rubber traders. This rubber comes from these trees, and that was the only place he could get it at the time. Well, he found out there was an abundance of these trees in South America, so he goes down there, makes a deal with the government, builds an entire like an American 1950s, 1940s style town. Gets all these employees to go down there and shit. The whole thing turned out to be a nightmare, but the point is, he looked at the rubber trees like we look at corn. So he planted these things in straight rows right next to each other, miles and
Mm-hmm.
miles of shit, not realizing that the whole reason these things thrive is because when they're separated out, the mites that eat them up and ruin them don't get to every tree because they're not close together. But when you plant them all in straight lines like corn, the little critters just jump from tree to tree to tree and they ruin every single one of them. You have zero chance of success.
Man, if
And
he'd only been around during the internet age, people would have told him, Bro, stick to cars.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even the locals tried to tell him like they die if you plant them too close together. And he's like, "Why?" They're like, "We don't know. We're just telling you they do." He's
We
like,
don't know, but trust him.
"Yeah, yeah." He's like, "Okay, you stupid Brazilians that have been harvesting these your whole lives. I'm gonna do it my way." So yeah, well, that and he tried to force a vegan diet on all the employees. It got to a point where like the Brazilian employees were like rioting, and the Americans dipped out because he was refusing to let them eat meat.
Speaking of dudes with weird diets, veganism's weird, right? I mean, you got to say that's weird.
Oh, of course it's weird. It doesn't make sense to limit yourself.
I'll tie this into the AI. Do you know who Kurt Godel is? I'm sure you've heard of Gerda Lesher Bach, right? The book.
I know who Roger Goodell is, commissioner of the National Football League.
Yes, it's basically like his cousin.
Okay, cool. I'm on board now. So we're talking about football.
Yeah, numbers. This is fantasy football.
Okay.
He figured out that math was all self-referencing, meaning it has inherent paradox, right? All
Okay.
all sets do, right? So math is just one set of logic. Well, he proved that all sets of logic end up self-referencing, kind of like the what's the logic whenever it's like the Bible's right because the Bible said so, right? Circular reasoning. That.
Okay.
So this is what I get for trying to draw and talk about this shit. Well, anyway, so he figured out that math was self-referencing, meaning our rules of logic say it's incoherent, right? It's circular, but even logic itself is like that. And all these like the Bertrand Russells and all that, were like naysayers, and they were hating on him and all this shit. Basically, what it gets down to is he proved that there are truths outside of any given set.
That's fair. Yeah.
And
I don't think that's
what
like too
that's the
crazy of a statement.
yeah, that's the transcendental proof of God. For if you're into Christian apologetics, like that's what like Van Til, Gregory Bahnsen. I don't know if you've ever listened to any of those guys. The dudes that get into the philosophy side of the Bible. Well, anyway, he was so hated by the Royal Society because that kind of fucked up their new direction, right? Because they went all in on the scientific stuff. They went
Yeah.
all in on evolution because they were trying to move away from religion. And here he goes and he crushes their science, crushes their logic, and it shows it's like a revealing proof of God. And the Royal Society, he claims, and I think if you look at how like the letter agencies and all that act now, anybody with power they're going to use it. And he ended
For
up
sure.
starving. He ended up starving himself to death because he did not want to eat any food because he was convinced that the Royal Society was trying to poison him.
Well,
But
that's a terrible place to be in life.
what's
Where
crazy
you have
is like all his shit has withstood, right? So like nobody argues against it, but it's almost like never taught anywhere. And the only place it is taught is or reason it's making a comeback now is because of AI. Because it's the meta think that makes humans, it gives us that advantage over machines, right? Because they can only know what you tell them to know.
yeah.
They can only reference what you tell them to reference. And our true skill, which I don't know why they try to beat it out of us, is that the meta think. There's something outside of ourselves that's true.
I feel like I tried to make that point the other night, and you guys were just trying to find ways to grapple into getting that AI money. This is amazing.
What makes you think I want AI money, dude? I'll never, ever, ever have anything to do with AI.
You speak out loud sometimes when you're thinking, and I don't know if you didn't realize that.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You're like, yeah, well, I guess it could make some money. Like,
Well, it could, just not for me. Told you,
see,
I'm going to remain pure as the driven snow.
I don't believe you for a minute, but I'll give you benefit of the doubt.
What's funny is I got all this music software and stuff that I dick around with.
Yeah.
And a lot of the features in it are like AI based, where it's you put in your, you play your riff, it'll find a drum track for your riff, then it'll analyze the two, it'll complete a drum song structure for you to play over.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's all AI, but it's music. I don't give a shit about it. You know what I mean? I just do it as a side hobby.
Well, and music's like, it's been we've been using technology to achieve high production quality with music for so long now. Like, it would take having to sound bad, like, as being popular to revert that. Like, I sometimes I'll hear like these boomers going on about like, I hate auto tune, and it's like auto tune's really just a bunch of tweaking. It's not what you guys think it is. Like, you can put a bad singer through auto tune, and they're still a bad singer. Like, it still sounds like fucking dog shit. But if you put a good singer through it, it just fixes their little moments when they're trying to take their breath and stuff. So
Have you heard Freddie Mercury put through auto tunes?
no, but I would also have to know for fact that it was being mixed correctly and it wasn't just some jabroni with an app.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how do I know? I don't know the fucking guy. But supposedly music producer. Anyway, he does it, and it like legit, dude. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to. I don't know. It sounds like shit. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it probably does because the guy doesn't know what he's doing. That and Freddie Mercury just doesn't need it. That's the thing. It's like you can. It's like, imagine if every live show sounded that way on an album. It wouldn't be good because it's hard to maintain singing at a high level for like 2.5, 3 hours straight, unless you're Freddie Mercury, unless you're like one of these rare genetic freaks vocally that can just pull that off. So
Well, we got Ran Nada in here and Art and Times of Jay Ryan. That guy's
hey, what's up,
everywhere.
Jay?
So was General Wackass. That guy's everywhere.
Oh yeah, I love Wackass.
Gordon
Dude's
Goodbrother.
good brother. He's a good brother, all right. Oh man, but yeah, like it's hard for me to take the AI thing seriously with the jumps and the changes I've seen just the last few years in terms of technology. Like, I remember people going through similar stuff, like you guys brought up Photoshop and things like that earlier. It's like, Photoshop sucked needing to know how to have really good technique out of people in order to use a paintbrush to blend well. It sucked that technique right out of being a necessity. Now you just have to know how to adjust levels correctly and when to stop or when to go forward. There's still some judgment involved, obviously. But and I think that's probably the difference. That's why, like, no one really gets too banana shape about Photoshop or digital drawing. It's because you still have to be able to draw, or you still have to understand color theory, or you still have to have the eyes to know the difference between good and bad quality. And the AI art can give you really high quality stuff that still looks really bad, or really high quality stuff that looks really good. And I don't know. I think it's just going to be one of those things where, as long as it's being identified, it's not going to impress people as much, and it's not going to gain this stranglehold that some people are freaking out thinking it will. It'll obviously get used because it's inexpensive. That's a given. But if it is costing people money in terms of lack of interest from consumer, that's what will keep it from ever. It's kind of like 3D movies. Like that shit never caught on. It just gave people headaches, and now they all avoid it. I don't. I know one
Avatar
guy.
is about to hit, bro.
Oh yeah, Avatar is one of 150 3D movies that have
Did you like it?
flopped.
The original?
I mean, I only watched parts of it. It just nothing about it interested me. It was.
I watched it once at the theater and have never had the desire to watch it again. I didn't hate it. It borderline was very boring. You know, I mean, you kind of go to just see the scenery.
Well, it's because Cameron's become pretentious and boring instead of pretentious and fun. When he was pretentious and fun, you got the Terminator. When he got pretentious and boring and gay, you get, a movie full of blue people that nobody gives a shit about if they live or die. This movie's trying so hard to make you care about these stupid blue people. And it's like, no, they're clearly computer generated. I don't care about them. This is not as impressive as you think, James Cameron. And it's not as witty as you think. It's not as smart as you think. It's your characters cannot maintain a personality unless it's being shitty.
He's all in on that green movement way back then.
But he can't even do that right. It's like you've got Captain Planet probably had more success with changing young minds than Avatar will ever dream of having. And Captain Planet was one of the dumbest, worst cartoons of the 90s.
Bro, I mean, I was at cartoon age at that time, and I never. That shit just looks so cheesy. It's like looking at a Valiant comic on the stands.
100%. You hit the nail on the head, Tommy. If you were a carpenter, you would have got a clean swing first try. But yeah, Valiant was awful. Captain Planet was awful. People that look at either one nostalgically make me question their
Death Mate.
Their quality.
Captain Planet. That'd be good. That'd be a good crossover.
Captain Planet meets Valiant for the ultimate things that were even irrelevant in their time crossover.
You collected during the Image boom, right? You're old enough to do that.
Oh, for sure. I was collecting before Image, but yeah, the Image stuff, at least the Image was exciting. Valiant was literally looking at my aunt's couch from the 1970s.
God, it's so bizarre that they thought it looked. I don't know what they were thinking aesthetically. Even the guys that were part of it before that and after that did more modern looking work.
Yeah, and it sucks too because they got a handful of really good artists up in there and made all their work look like complete garbage. It's like Bart Sears barely escaped without his work being turned into just a watercolory mess of brown and orange.
His book was probably one of the cooler ones. The XL Manowar, he had some really cool covers, and of course the interiors are hit and miss with him. But
yeah, Turok was cool.
Yeah, Turok was cool.
They tried to make their other characters cool, but all the foil covers in the world weren't going to make those books good.
Nah.
Even Barry Windsor Smith could not save some of those trash books. They're bad when Barry Windsor Smith is in the quarter bin.
Well, I felt like ugly books with his ugly faces that he draws. It was too much. It was a bridge too far. I like his ugly faces on X-Men. But yeah. These cheeky ass fucking characters.
It works for Wolverine, I guess.
Dude, when your superheroes wear leisure suits, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like those dudes,
Yeah.
the Harbinger guys look like science teeth. They were wearing bell bottoms and shit. What the fuck?
Dude, every time somebody comes at me about Valiant, and they're like, "Oh, what do you mean? Valiant's cool." It literally enrages me. Like, guys, stop. Just there's certain things in life you keep to yourself, and this is one of them. You don't tell other people.
I feel like kayfabe, whenever they go over it, even they are still kind of like, yeah, I don't know. You know, they try to like it just because so they want to have that college comic book cred.
Well, yeah, they're running out of stuff to look at. So, and if they have to go back to like '80s mainstream books, that'll just be like torture on their souls to have to look at George Perez work. No, I'll give them some credit though. Those dudes do take some time on some really good stuff that the world needs to know about that maybe they don't, at least here in the West.
Oh,
The
dude,
amount
yeah. They've educated me on it, dude, because I've always been more of a mainstream comic kind of dude.
yeah.
So
And, there's nothing wrong with that, really. It's like in the modern age, it's hard to be that way. That's when it has a stink on it. If you go like 2012 or earlier, it's not so offensive. But now if someone's like, "Oh man, I really like DC though," in 2022, it's like, are you borderline retarded? Who would even say that in public? Come on.
so if okay, yeah, here I'm gonna actually do some moderating here. Jay Ryan says, take back your negative comments on Captain Planet. This guy, Art and Times of Jay Ryan, he was messaging me the other day telling me that I had to buy the Ted Turner biography. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to. Anyway.
I mean, what's it gonna say? I bought up most of Montana.
I'll just read the Georgia Guidestones part.
Yeah. Now, Jay Ryan, I like you, brother, but you may have to send your lawyers. You won't be the first. Matt Barr threatened to send his lawyers like a week ago, right after complaining at Gabe about lawyers. So
It all
me,
feels like
towards
Andy Kaufman when he's threatening to sue everybody.
Yeah.
For the wrestling stuff.
Everyone's so happy right now. And at least half of those people can't even afford lawyers, so it gets laughable really quick.
Well, that and dude, I would never give a lawyer money if I didn't have to. You know?
Yeah, what I mean? Exactly. Now, Ethan, yeah, he can sue some people for sure, but I'm not taking all the other creators' words for it. That they're just got lawyers on retainers everywhere. If they do, great, but it's pretty irrelevant to me. It's about like expecting me to care about AI art. People can threaten me with lawyers all day. I chuckle at lawyers. I chuckle at their law.
So AI art it's no longer a topic of discussion around Joe Ball.
Well, yeah, because I regulate you guys on it with ease. And you try to pretend like it's the opposite. It's great. And Nick's worried about angering gods. He needs to be worried about angering Joe Ball. Because I got a lawyer named Jeffrey Goldblum. Oh fuck! Wait, that's a real person. Hang on, I'll think of a name. There's got to be a Stein somewhere in Wilmington I can make up a first name for.
Joe, what did I do with my character sheet? Motherfucker.
Well, dude, you can verify this as a fellow artist. Needing reference is a thing. There's just times where we need it to double check a design element or something, especially when it's other people's characters or their work.
I run it through my AI filter in my head. I use reference so much more now than I used to.
But don't you get
And
tired of it? Like, doesn't it just turn into a fucking hassle?
yeah,
Yeah,
are
me
you
too.
like for using it for character sheets? Because there's like 30 characters in this. Yeah, I mean it's tedious.
It's like I don't feel like stopping what I'm doing to check reference again. Like, because I have to do it too often already.
Yeah, but you would never know that I use reference. You would never be able to find any picture that
Of course
matches
not.
what. Yeah,
You're a
like
fucking high tier artist. You're a dude that draws pictures that the AI can't even conceive because it's just a stupid robot. Like, I
right.
dare I dare the robot to fight Tommy. It'll lose that battle.
Well, thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. You come a
No,
long way from
I know. We
wishing
all
death
think.
on me.
Well, no, hey, now let's not get ahead of ourselves. You still own a porch, and there's a place right
Dude, as
on
I
your
was taking my
your
dog
nose.
to the vet, I'm like, I reject Joe's death wish upon me. Then I got to thinking, I'm taking my dog to the vet. If my dog fucking dies today, I'm driving to Cincy and you're getting choked out, dude.
Dude, I honestly was like, I thought about making a joke, and then when you said that about your dog, I was thinking, God, I didn't make it. Like, I was like, "Whoa, I dodged a bullet there." Because it was
And
like
on
one
the
of
way
those things
there,
where I didn't know what I didn't know, and I was
yeah,
glad that I didn't like make the reaction or the jump I did.
on the
I was
way
like, oh well,
there, there
yeah.
was a dog walking across the road in the middle of town. On the way back, there's this guy like was swerving all over the road, and then this little white dog ran up to the side of the road, and that dude slowed down, and I slowed down. We both started honking, and we go up the road. It was like maybe 40 yards, and there was a dead fox in the road, and it triggered that guy. And that guy he turned around and went back to the house that had the little dog in the front yard. And I'm thinking, I'm glad you did that, brother, because I was on my way back too.
Don't want to see that. Well, I
Yeah,
caught like
dude. And all I could think of in my head was this motherfucker wished death on me, dude. He's trying to bring it down.
a. No, I don't have that kind of sway, unfortunately.
Oh,
Um,
see, I think you do. This
or
is where
maybe I
me and
do,
Nick
maybe I don't. That's what you'll never know until it happens.
that's where Nick and I differ from a lot of people. Do we think we think words, our words, your words, very very powerful. Got somebody messaging, probably Nick.
Yeah, but people have to give the words power. If you're just standing in a room talking to a wall about how you want a new car, unless you're going to go out and get those parts and build that car, it's not just going to appear. This is like Oprah just telling the little kids in Africa to think about food so that they won't be so hungry. Ain't gonna make food appear. Well, it will now because you know Biden sent them like $11 trillion in flour. So now we get to watch a bunch of poor people that live in the middle of a desert try to figure out what to do with flour. But it's
Bake some cakes.
yeah, make some cakes. Dude, I saw a video of them tossing bags of flour off of like a UN jet. This was probably in like the late 90s.
Hmm.
And like all these Africans were just cutting the bag open and trying to scoop out the flour and eat it, and the look on their faces looking around at each other like, what the fuck is this?
I want to say
Bags of-
I remember seeing that.
yeah, and they're just looking around all confused. It's like, yeah, dude, you gotta mix it with some water, heat it up. It's like we don't have water. It's like, oh fuck, yeah, I forgot. You live in a desert. Well,
Phil
heat it up, burn some. We don't have any trees. Oh shit, it's not the Amazon. They live in a desert. Oh my god.
Is Phil a legit Andrew Tate fan or not?
I'm sure he gets a good laugh out of him, bare minimum. I don't know that he's like a legit fan. I think Andrew Tate's definitely like it's fun occasionally to hear him be snarky, but there's also like a point where you can tell he's just trying to think of something to say that sounds Andrew Tate-ish because
Hmm.
he needs some content or something floating on TikTok 24 hours a day. So I don't know. I just want to see him fight more. So
I want
I
to see
want to
him
see.
fight Scott Adams. There's a rivalry between them because Tate put Scott Adams started showing the DMs about it. Tate was wanting Scott to give him a boost online, and Scott
Yeah.
Adams was like, "No way, dude." So Tate started a rumor that he was fucking Scott Adams' like hot Instagram wife, and like within a year they're like divorced and all that. It's pretty funny. So Scott Adams wants to kill him. He calls him Andrew Taint.
Well, I mean, if Scott gets to the gym, stops letting his skin sag, takes Tate's advice, they can get it on in the ring and settle it like men.
I've never seen any of the Andrew Tate interviews.
They're funny. Like it's
Are they?
like here's the thing with him. He's witty and he's quick on his feet.
Is he
in ter-
legit witty? Like,
Yeah, with how his brain works. Like he can, especially with women. Like he's got women just figured out hook, line, and sinker. Like there ain't no bitch that's gonna outwit him. But I don't know how he would stack up against like someone of equal wit. But the dude's he's funny. It's hard not to like him sometimes. Like he'll just be talking about working out and he'll be ranting about people that like do food prep. He'll be like, "Do you think putting a bunch of food in tiny boxes will give you biceps? Are you out of your fucking mind?" And I'll just be like, "He's got a point. He's got a point. The little boxes aren't what's going to give you the biceps. Putting way too much energy into meal prep." But I don't know. He's all right. I don't mind him. His advice does me no good because I'm too old and married. Got
well,
like all the things he says you need to have. I'm already past that. But it could do a lot of good if you're like lonely and you're 20-year-old male. Then yeah, he's probably the best person you could be listening to.
so he took over Juden Peterson's spot.
Yeah, but that's because Jordan Peterson has great advice, but it's coming from a man that looks frail and weak, so it has no gusto
How many
behind it.
pain pills or barbiturates or whatever that, dude? He's totally a pillhead. You can tell because whenever he does his breakdown and cries,
Yeah,
it's not just him crying. It's the gritting of the teeth when he's crying.
yeah. It's
And I'm
like,
like, dude, I've seen that from a million druggies, dude. Get out of here.
yeah. It's like you're just waiting for him to start, like his jaw to start moving back and forth, and to start like
Oh,
compulsively
yeah.
licking his lips and sticking his tongue out. It's like he keeps it together most of the interview, but if something sinks too hard into his brain, it's he starts to expose himself. But so he's interesting too, though. Like I think he if you want the same information as Tate's going to give you, but you're a person that understands academic terminology way better than real world speak, then yeah, Peterson's your guy. But if you want to hear it like tough love style, then Tate's your dude. So
Jay Ryan wants to know if I've actually seen Phil. Yeah, I've seen Phil. I saw him the other night. After I got done with him, he had to have like 4 or 5 Andrew Tate videos going at one time just to power back up.
Phil, Tommy got me right there, brother. I was gonna jump in for your defense, but I had nothing in the moment. That's Tommy 1, Joe 38. So
I don't know if you know this about me, Joe, but I'm a big body language guy.
yeah.
Hey, whenever I say stuff like that, I just want everyone to know that I want to be attacked whenever I say stuff like that. I'm a big
You
body
want
language
to
guy.
be attacked till it involves crawling under your deck, and then all of a sudden you get all mushy and soft, and you're like, hey now, there's limits.
Dude, I called Nick. I was so excited. I'm like, oh man, we got these guys. They're live right now. He's like, all right, I'll be there in a minute.
Yeah, that was the worst mistake you ever made.
What are you talking about?
Because all Nick did was ramble nonsense.
Brother, have you not been around Nick enough to know that's his whole thing?
Oh, I do. There's the first time me and Nick met was like a 3 hour night of just me and him because everyone else went to bed, of him trying to teach me hermetics and me being like, no, that's not really how that works, but all right, dude. Like that was literally my response to everything. Said he'd be like, but the idea of Jesus is bigger than Jesus. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. There's an end to the story. There's a conclusion. There's a reason for what he did. It's not all as imaginary as people want to pretend. So it's I like Nick though. You know that. Nick knows that. I love him and I hate myself for it because it's disgusting for a man to feel things. But he's a sharp dude in his own right.
Phil just defended himself with a. All right, you're on the screen. I'm not even reading it. I'm not gonna dignify you.
Phil, you got to get in here so we can be mean to each other and then nice to each other afterwards, and then mean to each other again. Yeah, like it's a cycle. It's the circular cycle Tommy was talking about. It's all come back. I see. Okay, Tommy, I'm on board with you now. I'm not going to question you anymore.
I like that friction.
All right, I'm gonna just say things for the sake of it again. Let's get the friction up. Let's rub two sticks together. Let's make fire. Actually,
I'm just trying to find out if there's someone else in this world other than Nick that I can get along with on a real level. That's all.
I mean, probably not, but I mean, you can get along with me. It's just when you guys are being irrationally retarded, I'm going to let you know.
No, that's the whole part. That's what I like. That's what I'm talking about. I like that friction. Because I'm a big body language guy.
He is. He's a body language guy. He likes to read the eyes, the shoulders, the poop chest with a deep slouch.
Phil's stoned face. I think Phil's about worked his way out of it. He's good to go.
I'll use my PC next time we hang out so you guys can actually like see me too. So you can see how hard I'm smiling all the time. At the deep thoughts.
Nick pussed out. What a bitch.
Of course he did.
One CGer in the room is all right. Two in the room, nah, too shaky.
Well, of course, it's too shaky for the ultimate fence sitter. That makes perfect sense.
Nick is the Tim Pool of comics. Not even that well, that you could just immediately, if you're center, you get labeled far right. So
you know, I know we're just like friendly ribbing Nick right now, but I can't even bring myself to compare him to Tim Pool because like that's super depressing. And Nick's like, Nick, I wouldn't do that to you, brother.
What internet personalities do you like?
I go through phases with them.
You like Hexenhammer?
No, he's kind of a dork.
It's a devil worshiper.
Here's the well, that too. He's a dork and a devil worshiper, and he looks like he weighs 110 pounds wet. Like there's just.
I think he looks like a the off-brand version of Dave Windorf from Monster Magnet.
That's fair. That's pretty accurate.
They got those mouse teeth and look and the nose going. Anyway.
But at least Dave like rocked us out with one song.
One? What are you talking about, dude? They have multiple good albums.
Well, they have good albums. They just only had like one mainstream hit. Not that that's a negative, because I don't really care about mainstream hits with music. That's not something I care about in terms of quality. But yeah, dude, I remember seeing Monster Magnet on like MTV in like 93 or 94. And I totally forgot about them. And then in the late 90s, I was like, fuck, I swear I remember seeing those guys like right after a Primus video when I was like 12.
Yeah.
Faintly remember them.
Good ass band. There was a kayfabe not too long ago where it was, I think it was a Daredevil comic, and it had a random ad for a band in the back. And this is like 83, 84. The
Yeah,
band was Shrapnel, which was a punk band. That was
cool.
Dave Windorf's first band. I guess because he worked in a comic shop up in New Jersey. So I guess some of the New Yorker Marvel editors and shit came in there, and he suckered them into putting an ad for his band in there. Ended up making it a decade later with another band. Pretty interesting story, eh?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of music industry stories are interesting because like I think we think in our heads like when we see a group, it feels like that group's always been together, and then you gradually realize most musicians go through, 8 and 10 different rounds of people before they find like a solid unit that works for them, and it always just seems strange, even though that's how it goes a lot of times.
Where are your kids right now? Are they sleeping?
They're upstairs with the wife.
Oh,
I actually was coming down here to go to sleep because I've been crunching for just fucking days now, and I've only probably had like 6 hours of sleep total in the last like 2 or 3 days. And I told the
right on.
wife because I was getting like super pissed off just at my surround. You know how it is when a person has
Yeah, no,
for a
dude.
while, like you get like that snap level of irritableness where it's like every little thing makes them snap. So I was like,
I've,
I gotta get over
I've been
this.
sick with a head cold all week, and that first day I felt better. The only thing like back online was just like I was just fucking angry, dude. And
Yeah,
your boy Phil sent that fucking AI thing, and I was like, oh, okay. Let me tag him up, dude. This is like a perfect outlet for my anger right now.
well, no, it's not because Phil's a sweetheart.
Phil'll be all right.
Your anger should be directed at liberals exclusively.
Liberal Phil.
Oh, oh my God! You just went there. Tommy just went there, came back, and took
From
a
what I
scene.
gather, Phil's brother seems a little more politically up to date than Phil. Phil doesn't seem to give a shit about it.
Now that's fair.
But
Yeah,
I see
Phil.
this, I see Brandon talking about the seed oils and stuff. It's a bit of a meme at this point, but I mean, you're not going down that road, learning
Yeah.
about
Oh,
that stuff.
I give him hell all the time about it. So it's like he's accurate about the seed oils, like he's 100% correct. But then I'll send him like a Twitter thread of like Lauren Chin and all these
Mm-hmm.
other like pseudo right wing like fence rider Canadians all going back and forth like, oh, I only use lard, and then another one being like, I use so much butter I have to freeze it. It's like, do you retards think you're the first people to use butter, lard, and olive oil? Those have kind of been the standbys since the beginning of human recorded history.
Dude, that's all my dad cooked with. He had like this little can of grease on the stove from the bacon and whatever else he'd
Yeah.
cook.
Yeah, exactly. It's just when you see people that are like they're like acting like there's this world of oils they never knew about, and you're like, that's literally been the only options at the store till the last few years. What are you guys talking about? It's so silly and goofy. It's like a contest to see who can virtue signal about their butter more. It's like it's just butter. Do we really need to get into like dick measuring contest over who consumes more butter? It's not impressive.
Kerrygold is using the seed oils to make their shit now, I believe. What a bunch of idiots. You had one job.
One job, and you messed it up. Oh, dude, we know how this works. Whatever's inexpensive and you can legally sell it to people, and it's not going to kill them overnight. That's what they're going to use.
Yeah,
It kills them.
they're the death threshold. That's what the FDA is. I forget who I was watching that put it that way. It's just like they're there to test to make sure there's not too much of it that it kills you.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And I mean that's everything in life to some degree. Even things that are really good for you, too much of it's going to kill you. So it's I look at it like this. We're all going to get old and die. And if the thing I'm eating is not going to actually affect me till I'm already old and going to die anyways, then I'm not too concerned with what it's going to like with the meantime. It's like, so if I eat French fries from McDonald's, how long can I live and still eat McDonald's French fries cooked in seed oil? And if somebody's like, oh, you'll still live well into your 80s, we're just saying, I'll be like, all right, see, like, why would I care? I don't even want to make it into my 80s. Are you serious? I should eat less French fries, maybe, so I don't last as long.
You don't want to live to 8? I don't know, dude. Yeah, see, my middle age is starting to. I'm gonna try to give it that one last go. I know it's gonna fucking fail though.
I just want to see my kids be adults. That's my. I want to see my kids be adults and see grandkids. Bare minimum.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You got the kids floating around. You got youngins.
Yeah, I got little kids, and I'm already 40 with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So trust me, I've been doing math late at night when I'm laying in bed and being like, oh my God, they're gonna be 20. I'm gonna be like 106.
The other kid. Well, no, I was gonna say the other kids are gonna be looking at you all weird, like, is that your grandpa dropping you off? But no, everybody's waiting until late in life now. It's a new thing, so it's gonna be quite normal.
Well, they're all scrambling. They're all like, oh shit, I've been too busy jerking off and playing video games through my 20s, my early 30s, and my mid 30s. I'm 37, and all I have to show for myself is a box of Xbox trash. I guess I better make some babies.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna get a newer system. My laptop will push games, but I kind of moved past it. And I
I
like
just don't.
games. I like playing video games. It's just I like being good at shit too. So, and the time required to be good at it, versus all these clowns that have absolutely decided they're not going to go start a life. So, the talent pool is just everybody's good at video games now. So,
Well, that's the thing. Everybody does think they're good at video games. You know how many times I've been told by someone they're really good at video games? And I just roll my eyes and move on with life because I'm like, that literally means nothing. You're one of 10 zillion people, and guess what? An Asian's gonna always beat you. So think what
Street
you like.
Fighter, a Street Fighter anyway.
Oh, it's Street Fighter, it's basic math, pretty much everything.
Did you ever read any of the Malcolm Gladwell books?
No, no, I haven't read
Tipping
a book
Point,
since
and
high school.
I say read, but I always do audiobooks. Anyway,
I have weird like reading and listening habits when I do. It's like sometimes I want conspiracy, but for entertainment value.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes I want educational type conspiracy for some entertainment value plus some real world stuff, like things that
Shit
really
you want to
matter.
know to avoid or look out for you.
Yeah, so it's like it depends on my mood. Like there's some nights where I can get really into just some heinous, depressing real world shit that I need to know. And then there's other nights where I'm like, no, 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 I'm not doing this tonight. No way. I'm gonna find a video about flat Earth and just laugh my ass.
I've noticed YouTube the last half of this year that conspiracy stuff is starting to creep back in, and I'm almost wondering if they've uh, took the finger off the scales a little bit, or if
A t-
people have just figured out how to rig the algorithm. Because I used to, it would be all conspiracy, right? I mean, it would
Yep,
totally take over.
yep. The right wing and the conspiracy theorists owned YouTube till
They
about
own everything.
2008.
They own Dig. They own Reddit. They own all the comment sections, and they were just like, no, 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 no. We gotta put the kibosh on this.
Yeah. Oh, it's tough because there's like there's a lot of things that are true, but we don't see them manifest out in a way that's big enough for the masses to care. And even if they did know, would they even still care? You know, it's like, I forget who said it, but it's like basically as long as people have like carbs, they're
That
going to
was
just keep doing
Crit
shit.
Stubblefield. I used to work with him. He's an old Democratic operative. He worked for the radio station and all that, and he ended up getting a job doing sales for the mailing fulfillment place I worked at.
Okay.
And he was hardcore Democrat, so we'd argue all the time. But he's a good guy. He'd always come in my office and hang out. That's what he said. He's like, there ain't gonna be a civil war. People are too fat and happy. He's like, if you're going to worry about civil war, wait until the food runs out. Until then, you ain't got to worry about it. So I took that. That's probably the best advice he had. Everything else is pretty stupid, but I like that.
It's sort of true though. You don't really see the breakdowns even in like third world countries till the resources are just so rare and difficult to get a hold of.
Once the shelves empty, then that's when they get crazy.
Even here during COVID, when you saw shelves emptying out, people started to get excessively crazy, and it wasn't even COVID. It was just buying toilet paper and
The
being
hysteria.
yeah, the dumbest stuff. I excuse everyone for like that 2 months, like that April and May. After that, I don't give anyone that was acting like a lunatic. Like I know they didn't have any information and they were just doing the best they could. So I cut them slack that one point, but after that, no. Near
Yeah, I bought it early enough that the woman in line was like, "Well, what are you getting all this for?" Because it's me and my wife and my daughter.
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, they're gonna be shutting everything down." She's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Yeah, the COVID thing, shutdown's coming." The shutdown happened like 2 weeks later, dude. So that's what you get for being a conspiracy nerd like me. You was the first in line. I didn't have any problems getting anything. I rolled out of there with like a 40 feet tall stack of toilet paper and 2 carts of fucking canned chili, bro. Let's go.
That's pretty right on, actually. Yeah.
Corned beef hash. Mm.
Yeah, beef hash, some steak and taters in a can, whatever you can get in a can.
The depressed Chinese American guy exposing U.S. based Asian racism from his personal history. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw that. I got this one Chinese guy. He's American though, so whatever. The American Chinese guy, and he is always going on about phone security and internet security and all. It's like his whole thing. And the whole time I'm looking at him like, is this like some sort of Chinese operative doing this, or is this dude? Is he escaped China and he's like legit trying to warn us? I don't know, but he's always popping up in my feed.
I have a kind of like a self-imposed like standard rule that if you're not in your hometown, you're not allowed to be upset when people don't want to fuck with you. Like you're just not. It's like, sorry, this isn't your hometown. Even if you're in America, you know, when I moved to Georgia, it's like a different world down there
Yeah.
compared to even Southern Ohio. And you gotta do your best to make these people think you're not just an uptight, dumb goof and understand them a little bit. And if people are like, if they think, I just, anytime someone's like, oh, these people are all racist to me, it's like, no, you were probably difficult to understand. Your English was probably awful. You were in a place you either were new to or you shouldn't have been in the first place. And you got to bear in mind too, I moved like 28 times, like just in school.
Hmm.
So I moved all over this country and got to know how you deal with people you don't know very quickly. Like I have zero fear of public speaking or anything like that. I can talk to anybody even if I don't know them. But like if you're going to stand out and make yourself clearly the new guy to your own detriment, you know, it's you just got to deal with whatever happens. You can't blame people for being suspicious of people they don't know
I
to the
always
point
like
where they're almost aggressive.
I remember in school, anytime somebody from California moved there, or Texas, or Florida, that we were in awe. We were like, "Oh shit, this is like a fuck." Like in our heads, our dumb
Yeah,
hillbilly heads, everybody was a movie star that was from California.
yeah, it
I
was a big
wonder if
deal.
it's the same way now, because everybody down here, at least now, would probably spit on a California. I wonder if I'm guessing the dynamic changed completely on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would think depending on your age, if you're like a boomer, you'd still be like, "Oh, California, we got ourselves a little movie star here." But if it's like a someone like in their 20s that's gone black pilled in the last 2 weeks, yeah, you're not going to get a good reaction from them. They're going to be like, "Go on now, get out my state, boy, or I put two buckshots in your ass." So it all depends on
Well,
who you're talking to.
well, Joe, it looks like bitch ass Nick and bitch ass Phil are not gonna come and show up. I know Phil's at work. It's always his excuse. Sick of him.
Well,
I'm
all
sick of
right.
Phil.
So can we agree that now we're going to switch from um, me harassing you and Nick to now me and you harass Phil and Nick? I see a
Yeah, yeah,
dynamic shift changing here.
yeah. We can do that.
All right, that
I'm done.
works.
Like legit, I'm done with the AI thing. I mean, I don't. There's like you said, there's nothing I can change about it. I know what route I'm taking. I just pray that Phil doesn't blow his career up. I can't help myself but put it like that just to be mean. I'm sorry, Phil. Phil, I'll still work with you,
Oh, it's too late.
providing you'll have me.
Too late for that, Tommy. You done burnt the bridge, brother. You
Shit.
went, you climbed under the bridge with like a frog man, and you just put explosives all over that bridge, and then you got back far enough to where none of the debris would hit you in the face when you blew it up.
Now Phil's gonna pull out an issue of Bram, and I'm still gonna be the hot commodity.
He's he's gonna pull out Bram number 2, and everyone's gonna be like, "Man, Tommy's getting fucking good."
Oh yeah, he did a little bit of AI, Bram. Where can you see
I guess
Nick's art? Go to Zoop, and it's Axe Wielder John. I don't know if you can still. I don't know if it's on demand or not. I don't think it's on demand, but I think you can still order it.
yeah,
And
because
he did Manhattan projects with Hickman. He did some sort of kaiju book with that other fucking dude. I don't know who it is.
John
Anyway,
Layman. Yeah, still though, Axe Wielder John. If you can order it because it looks awesome. Like that's probably one of my most looked forward to
yeah,
crowdfund books.
he did the art and wrote the story,
Yeah.
and he's worthy of support. Gordon, good brother, I promise.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's a top 10 creator. The dude's amazing.
And he's really fat. Like
Oh,
literally.
it's just the baby fat. It'll go away.
No, the baby fat turned into a baby. He's got a giant skin tag by his ball sack. Uh,
Oh man. Oh, Nick, we're sorry. We love you, dude. But
this
you
is
did
right
have a
here
giant
is
tag.
yeah. This is it. This is all you need to know. He's a psychomaniac, and there is no
So,
one that's ever met him that did not agree with that.
so Nick's essentially a real life Bisley character.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. No wonder Phil likes him so much.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna end
All
this
right, dude.
shit. Later, Joe.
You take it easy. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
See you, everyone. I have a lot of expressions. I'm kind of an expression guy. because I can read them so well in other people. When other people do this, I assume they're mad, right? When they do this, I think they're probably happy. I'm a body language guy, like I said. See, Gordon, good brother, he's happy with his emoji body. All right, later, guys.